Hi everyone, I'm Harper. Babe, it's positive. After 2 years, it's finally positive. I screamed, clutching the pregnancy test with trembling hands. Nathan rushed into the bathroom, his eyes wide with excitement. We're having a baby? We're actually having a baby. He picked me up, spinning me around as we laughed through our tears. For that moment, life felt perfect. Just last year, I was promoted to senior marketing executive at Thompson & Brooks, beating out my sister-in-law, Evelyn, for the position. Yeah, that Evelyn, the one who hasn't spoken a word to me outside of work meetings since. She's been giving me the cold shoulder since I got the promotion, right? I told my friend Zoe over lunch in the break room. Girl, you should have seen her face when the announcement was made, Zoe said, shaking her head. I thought she was going to burst into flames right there in the meeting room. Honestly, I heard the only reason she's still here is because some of the board members are good friends with Nathan's parents. Speaking of the in-laws, Amelia and Robert chose that exact moment to stroll into the office, surprising Evelyn with lunch for the third time that week. Oh, Harper, we didn't expect to see you here, Amelia said with a tight smile, her eyes quickly darting away from me. Classic Amelia, acting like she hadn't planned this. Later that evening, Nathan and I gathered everyone to share our exciting news. September 15th, I announced with a smile, that's our due date. The family's reactions were mixed. Nathan's parents did their best to look thrilled. But I could already see the gears turning in their heads, likely calculating how this news might overshadow Evelyn's spotlight. That's wonderful, Evelyn said, her voice flat. Her fiancé Lucas sat stiffly on our couch, looking like he was rethinking his life choices. Thoughtful of you to bring champagne, I remarked, noticing the bottle Evelyn had brought, despite knowing I couldn't drink. Oh, I completely forgot, she said, her smile saccharine. More for the rest of us, I suppose. Robert stood, raising his glass. To the newest addition to our family. Evelyn spent most of the dinner glued to her phone, typing furiously. She barely touched her food, and her silence hung over the table like a storm cloud. Don't let her get to you, Nathan whispered, squeezing my hand. This is our moment. If only I'd realized then what Evelyn's silence meant. If only I'd recognized the calculating look in her eyes as she pretended to smile. Later that night, Zoe texted me. Evelyn's being way too quiet about this. Keep your guard up, girl. I've got a bad feeling. Zoe was right. At Sunday dinner, Evelyn's voice rang out over the chatter. Everyone, Lucas and I have set a date for the wedding. She smiled brightly, waiting for everyone's attention before delivering the bombshell. September 15th. My fork clattered onto my plate. That couldn't be right. I looked at Nathan, who seemed frozen in place. But that's Harper's due date. Nathan finally spoke up, his voice uncertain. Is it? Evelyn pressed a hand to her chest, feigning surprise. Oh my goodness. Harper, we've already put down deposits, you understand, right? These venues are impossible to book. Are you kidding me? I could feel my blood pressure rising. We announced our date 6 months ago. Harper dear, Amelia chimed in with her signature condescension. Surely you can schedule your C-section for another day. Evelyn's wedding is such a special occasion. My C-section? Are you actually suggesting I reschedule my baby's birth for her wedding? You're being a bit dramatic, honey, Nathan murmured, touching my arm. Maybe we can work something out. My phone buzzed with a message from Zoe. You need to see this now. Attached was a screenshot of Evelyn's conversation with her wedding planner from 3 months ago. I want September 15th specifically. My sister-in-law thinks she's getting all the attention with her baby, but I'll show her who the family really cares about. Nathan, look at this. I shoved my phone at him. He glanced at it and shrugged. You know how Evelyn gets. She probably didn't mean it like that. Later that week, my biggest client suddenly pulled their account. The reason? They'd received an anonymous tip about my supposed unprofessional conduct. I knew exactly where that came from. Harper, you won't believe what I just overheard, Zoe said, pulling me into the break room. Evelyn's been telling everyone you got pregnant on purpose to steal attention from her engagement. Half the office thinks you're some psycho attention seeker. That night, more damning screenshots surfaced in a family group chat. Messages Evelyn had accidentally sent to Zoe instead. Harper's being so selfish about my wedding. She always has to make everything about her. First my promotion, now this. The final straw came when I checked our joint account and saw several large transfers to Evelyn. Nathan, why did you give your sister $5,000 last month? She's struggling with wedding expenses, babe. She really needed help. Really? Because I just saw her Instagram story at the Ritz-Carlton, showing off her new Gucci bag. Come on, Harper. You know how she gets when she's stressed. 7 months pregnant, I sat there, watching my husband defend his sister, a woman who was systematically trying to ruin my life. Something inside me snapped. You know what? Keep defending her, but I'm done playing nice. Your sister wants a war? She's got one. I picked up my phone and called Zoe. Remember that financial report Evelyn asked you to help her with last month? I need to take a closer look at those numbers. Zoe slid a folder across my desk the next day. These expense reports don't add up, she whispered. Evelyn's been double billing clients and pocketing the difference for months. And look who signed off on the invoices. Her wedding planner, Mark Stevens. It got worse. Using a recording app Zoe had installed on my work phone, I captured Evelyn's office conversations. One particularly damning clip featured Mark's voice, smooth and conspiratorial. Of course I can meet you tonight, same place as always. Evelyn purred in response. Lucas is working late again. My phone buzzed with a text from Lucas. Can we meet? It's about Evelyn. At the coffee shop, Lucas looked devastated. I saw her messages on her iPad. She's been sleeping with the wedding planner. For months. He's not even charging us full price now. I know why. At the next family dinner, Evelyn's shrill voice filled the house. Just give me the money, Nathan. What's wrong with you? I'm your sister. Not this time, Evelyn, Nathan said firmly, holding up the bank statements I'd shown him earlier. You spent the $5,000 we gave you on a spa weekend. Amelia stormed into the room, her face red with anger. Harper, are you turning my son against his sister, and you still haven't rescheduled your C-section? For the last time, Amelia, I said, pulling out my phone to record her. I'm not rescheduling my baby's birth. Then you're selfish, she screeched. You're ruining Evelyn's special day. Robert pointed at me, his voice cold. You spoiled little brat. Nathan snapped. Enough. I just found out Evelyn's been stealing from us for months, and you're calling my wife selfish. The tension boiled over at my baby shower. Evelyn arrived 3 hours late, clearly drunk. Here's your gift, Mommy dearest. She slurred, tossing a small package at me. Evelyn, maybe you should sit down and drink some water, Zoe suggested. Maybe you should mind your own business, Evelyn snapped. You think I don't know you've been helping her spy on me? Lucas tried to calm her. Evelyn, please. Oh, shut up, Lucas. At least Mark appreciates me. The room fell silent. Lucas's face went white. Who's Mark? Amelia asked, her voice sharp. Lucas's reply was barely a whisper, her wedding planner, and apparently her boyfriend too. Evelyn's face twisted with fury. This is all your fault, she screamed, lunging at me. Nathan stepped between us, his voice booming. Don't you dare touch her. Get out. Now. Fine. Evelyn screamed, her face twisted with fury. But don't think this is over. I'll make sure everyone knows what a manipulative witch you are, Harper. She stormed out, knocking over the gift table and sending everything crashing to the floor. Zoe helped me into a chair, her eyes filled with concern. Are you okay, the baby? We're fine, I said, taking a deep breath. But I think it's time to send those financial records to HR. Already done, Zoe replied, her smile grim. I also sent copies to the police and a state licensing board for wedding planners. Turns out Mark Stevens has quite a history of fraud. Nathan knelt beside me, his voice heavy with guilt. I'm so sorry, babe. I should have seen who she really was sooner. I squeezed his hand. Better late than never, but this isn't over yet. What do you mean? Evelyn's wedding is in 3 days, and I have a feeling it's going to be unforgettable, just not the way she planned. 3 days later, Evelyn's world began to crumble. Get out of my house, Evelyn. It's over. Lucas's voice echoed through the neighborhood as her designer suitcases flew from the second-story window, spilling expensive clothes across the front lawn. At work the next morning, chaos erupted. Men in suits emerged from the elevator and headed straight for Evelyn's office. Evelyn Matthews, the lead auditor, asked. I'm from corporate audit. We need to discuss some irregularities in your expense reports. Her scream echoed through 3 floors. This is all Harper's fault. She set me up. The auditor raised an eyebrow and held up a stack of documents. These discrepancies go back 3 years, over $200,000 in fraudulent charges. Security escorted Evelyn out as she kicked and screamed. You're all going to regret this. Mark will vouch for me. Mark Stevens, he's already cooperating with authorities, the auditor replied calmly. Apparently, he's been involved in wedding planning fraud across multiple states. As if on cue, my water broke just as Evelyn was being led away in handcuffs. She's beautiful, Nathan whispered, holding our daughter, Emma, for the first time. I'm so sorry about everything, Harper. I promise. We're done with all of them. Later, Amelia and Robert tried to visit the hospital. We're her grandparents, Amelia insisted. You can't keep us out. Watch me, Nathan said, blocking the door. After everything you've enabled, you think you deserve to be grandparents. 5 months later, life was sweet. Zoe had taken over Evelyn's old position, doubling her salary. Office gossip revealed Evelyn was now working at a mall kiosk and living in a tiny studio apartment after Lucas kept the house. Your parents called again. I told Nathan while feeding Emma. They said they're sorry and want to meet their granddaughter. What did you say? The same thing I always say. Actions have consequences. They chose Evelyn over us for years. They can live with that choice. Amelia had even cornered me at the grocery store last week. Please, Harper, we've lost everything. Our friends won't even speak to us after Evelyn's arrest made the news. We miss you all so much. You should have thought about that when you demanded I reschedule my C-section, I replied, walking away. Bye, Amelia. Christmas morning was peaceful. Just me, Nathan, Emma, and Zoe coming over later. No drama, no manipulation, no toxic family members. Nathan watched Emma, who was fascinated by the twinkling lights. You know, I got a text from Evelyn yesterday. Oh yeah. Another apology. Says she's changed and wants to make amends. She's in therapy now. And I blocked her number. Good. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. As I held Emma in my arms, I knew we'd made the right choice. Our little family was all we needed. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting away and building something better. What would you do if a toxic family member sabotaged your life, marriage, and even pregnancy while playing the victim? Would you give them a second chance after they hit rock bottom and claim to change, or are some betrayals unforgivable? Share your thoughts in the comments below.